And welcome aboard to House to Home. I'm Clyde Haase, and we have been talking about some energy-saving ways that we can save energy and dollars with our very good friend Avista. Joining us today is Tom Lienhard. He is the Chief Engineer Efficiency Engineer. That's right. About close, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a
How
mouthful.
about Energy Efficient Engineer?
That's good.
Okay, well, welcome back, Tom. We were talking about some of the different programs that we had looked at before, and that was ways how to save energy and through some smart stuff. And we left some of the background up here for those that can actually see what we have here. But for those of you that can't, we're going to try to explain the items that we're talking about. So we're also coming into summertime, Tom, and it's a good time to be talking about trying to stay cool a little bit, right?
You bet. And maybe some of these devices can help us with that, staying cool or saving water when we irrigate or doing other things that we need to do during the summer. So that's possibly some of the reasons why we want to make sure you got it down.
Right. Well, you know, let alone, and when Tom is talking about all this energy efficiency within the home itself, he's also going to be talking about, or he'll ask me, what about an outside tree planting that we should use? And we need to be doing that. I mean, let's use some of the natural stuff too. So we're going to have a real nice mixer of this line.
That's good. And we also need to keep people's attention to the fact that some things take a little bit of a growth or sales cycle. So
That's
they
correct.
better think about them today, and they'll even be, maybe in 15 or 20 years, they'll be helping them out the way they want.
Well, that's exactly right, because they all do grow up. It's like getting a cute little puppies or a cute kitty, as we saw, and they grows up to be an ugly dog or a not so ugly kitty. But anyway, my point that I'm trying to illustrate is that you have to allow for time and plan ahead, and that's what we're going to do here today. So we all can see, or for us that can view this, we see a model home of a home itself, and there's ideas that we should be looking at, and you had shared some ideas with the camera, the energy efficient camera. If you're ever in doubt, that is available through different companies. I assume that they can even come out and shoot your home. I don't mean shoot it, but I mean...
Right. There are auditors that will come and audit your home. And for something, if you really have high losses and you're using more energy than you want in your home.
You're costing a lot of money to heat it and cool it, right?
Yeah, a lot of money. Then it's worth maybe $300 or $400
right.
to have a professional come in, do a blower door test on your home, find out how much leakage you have, see what the kind of insulation levels you have are. Because insulation, in some cases, are one of the most inexpensive things you can do to stop using as much energy. And in case of what we call infiltration, or the ability for your home to have air come and go around different devices, sometimes that's very inexpensive to fix if you can find out where they're at.
Well, let me ask this question. I know that when you build a home, you can actually overdo it sometimes and make it too airtight, but the home has to breathe. Is that correct?
That's correct. And so what we recommend people do now is to do a blower door test on their home to find out how much it's breathing naturally. And then if it's very tight, you can put in energy recovery ventilator that actually pulls air from the outside, but it swaps the hot air in the winter and the cold air in the summer, so that you're not throwing away your air. It actually saves the conditioned space air.
It's already existing, so why not reuse it again if you can?
That's correct. It just uses heat exchangers to swap that heat back around.
Great idea.
And so we think it's better to put in a device like that and have it be very tight. But it is, you're right, Clyde, when you say you need to be concerned about just taking any old house and making it as tight as you possibly can, because if it can't get rid of the humidity or other things that you're creating in there, you could cause more problem than solving.
Well, you know, and where I was coming from on that, Tom, is that I was out to a lady's home that she was needing some improvements done and so forth. And I noticed immediately she had her windows with plastic on the inside as well as the outside and the glass in between. The home was just, it was sweating. Literally sweating in the moisture. The insulation I know had to be getting damp, and then she had plants inside the home, and I says, we need to get air in this home. Well, I'm afraid of losing the heat, and it's going to get too, but there's a balance. You have to understand what your home is doing, right, Tom?
Yeah, I would agree. You really need to make sure that the home is going to be right for a human being.
Right.
Regardless of whatever else you're growing in there.
Right. Well, and one of the issues is that, all legal stuff. But anyway, my point that I want to share with you, Tom, is that some of the homes, in this lady's home, she had a wood fireplace, and she was using her wood stove, I should say. And again, the on-again extreme heat, and so that's why she was having some plastic up. And so we need to really understand our environment that we're at. And so you have brought along some ideas here of the control. We talked about the thermostats before, and again, I know Avista is very much so pushing the idea that we need to understand how they work. What are the best ones for you? Maybe we can just touch on that again for those that missed the other show.
Sure. We brought a couple examples. If you're looking at this on a video, we have an Ecobee thermostat on the top, and we have a Nest thermostat here on the side. We don't have an example of a lower cost. There's some that are only $100 that are smart Wi-Fi thermostats. And these go about doing their work in a different way. And we talked about how it's really good for you if you're buying smart devices for your home to study, read the reviews of the people online, find out if they had the same problems you did. You just brought up somebody having a fireplace. And I've seen people having a wood stove in their basement, and then they've got some kind of forced air heating throughout the rest of their home. And then it seems like the home isn't very comfortable because one place is too hot and the rest is too cold. Well, this Ecobee will give you the ability, if you want, to put different sensors in, and it will run the fan anytime it sees one room warmer than the other without running heat until it can balance out the temperature. So some of the new smart devices are giving us control that we never had before, and that might be advantageous to you if you have more than one type of heat source. So that's another thing to look for.
Okay, Tom, before we get too far down the line, and last time we only said it one time, but share the website at Avista so people can start making note of this. Some of you were just touching on some real important items I want people to forget. They're writing it down, but what website can they go to now? And we'll touch it at the end of the show too.
At avistautilities.com, you can look up energy savings and find, from that point, you should be able to find all the things that we have rebates for. There's help there for you if you want to find facts on things to look at. And I really enjoy using the internet too, because while there's all kinds of information out there, it's pretty interesting to read everybody's points of view on stuff. And we wouldn't buy something that, you know, we look, if we're going to get a pair of shoes, you're going to look around to see where you can get the best price for it.
Right.
And we want you to be that kind of shopper for using any of these smart devices as well. So that would be the case. One of the smart devices that we're seeing come out now, which is beyond the thermostats, beyond the Amazon Echo.
She just recognized your voice,
She
Tom.
did. Echo, turn off the nightlight.
Okay.
It works.
I just had her do something just because she was listening. So we have some new devices that are coming to help your home in the summertime. One of them is that now you can buy remote-controlled interior blinds. So
Really?
you can actually control your blinds based on what the temperature is outside. You could find out that it turned really warm in a day that you didn't expect it to, and you can get on your smartphone and pull your blinds when you're still at work. So that's new things that are coming available now that weren't available before. The other thing that I found really interesting, which I'm looking into now, would be landscape watering controls, because there are now watering controls and features that use all these smart applications so that you don't actually have to have a water meter out there checking to see if you got any rainfall. It just goes to the closest weather meter that's run by NOAA or some other really good source and said, oh, well, you just got a half-inch of rain, so I'm not going to run your sprinklers.
Well, you know, Tom, we're going to take a quick break here, and you're giving a lot of information, and people have filled up their page by writing stuff down. So we're going to take a quick break here on House to Home with Tom with Avista and his great energy-efficient ideas. Join us. We'll be right back. We're going to finish up on some more great ideas besides a shade tree.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta eat. You gotta watch. You gotta listen. You gotta run. You gotta play. You gotta ride. And hey, you gotta dance. On the go, in the moment. at the table. Spokane 7 keeps you connected whenever and wherever you choose. Subscribe to the experience.
My name is Randy James. I'm the founder and director of the Institute of Science and Technology at North Central High School. Kids are far more capable than we ever give them credit. We have $1 million worth of equipment, and we let them use it. You give them a place to play and do science for real. Instead of having to outsource engineers and scientists and mathematicians, we have kids right here. It takes a whole community to raise children. It really does. STCU invests in the community, and they're a longtime supporter of education. Collectively, we can make a huge difference. I'm Randy James, and STCU is here for good.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
And welcome back, folks. I'm Clyde Haase with House to Home, and joining me again is Tom with Avista. Tom has been here many a times before, and he's a energy-efficient engineer who understands all of the ways that we can all save money. And I say thank you, Tom, for the first part of the program.
Well,
the one
thank
before.
you for letting us be here. This is our pleasure to work with you.
Well, we've been talking about our home in general, and right now let's take the last half of this program. Let's talk about, I have my existing home. I have things set up. I have a thermostat that works, but I personally, really, folks, I don't have yet, but I'm working at it. But what can I do to my furnace for the air conditioning? What can I do, just general practices that's going to save me $1 or $2?
Well, knowing we're going to be coming into air conditioning season,
Yep.
then we want to make sure that everything's working top notch going in. So what I'd recommend that you do is change your furnace filter on your furnace. If you haven't done it for a while, it's good to do every month or 2 months.
Very true.
Regardless. And that'll really help everything work.
If they're getting brown, they need to be changed, right?
If you can tell it's dirty, it's dirty
It's
as
dirty.
it should have been.
Right.
Then you may want, if you have central air or large air conditioning systems, you may want to have them serviced. Make sure that the refrigerant levels are the right level, or at least clean off all of the heat exchanger coils so that when they do run, they're not working through dirt to try to do the work that they're doing.
Now, when you're vacuuming, is that what you recommend? You vacuum them, or can you even actually do it yourself?
If you're doing the outside coils, you can just spray them, hose them down with water. Don't use high pressure because those little aluminum fins will bend over and it won't work as good as it used to. There's a coil inside if it's a whole house air conditioning system.
Inside the home.
There's a coil inside your ductwork that should be cleaned every once in a while. And if you haven't cleaned it for 5 years, maybe it's time to...
Well, we need to take a look at it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But safety is number one. Turn off the power to the furnace so you don't get any shocks or anything else, or do you even have to?
If you're doing the work yourself, you better make sure that you're not up against anything that's going to come on while you're working.
And if you're hiring it done, ask what kind of service they're going to provide. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Always ask your contractor. Can I ask this question? Can we go to your website of Avista and get some ideas of things to be done, and they're going to give us a basic guideline from that point?
I have some work that I've done in the past for articles about how to make sure you get ready for the season.
Great idea.
So you might be able to find those on there.
So we have information available by going to, and again, their website is?
The website's avistautilities.com.
Pretty basic.
If you want to find some of my documents, you can look for Tom's Tips and Avista, and you'll probably find them right away.
Tom has plenty of information to share with us, folks, so that's why it says my tips are on that, and then that's very important. So now let's just talk about one thing you had talked about a little bit of the first part of the show was outside working with your water and so forth. This is a renewable product which is going to be water that we don't want to be wasting, and we want to maintain our trees and shrubs, and there are programs available that you're aware of to control the amount of watering, as you were pointing out then. What is that one called? Do you recall, or shall we do some research on that?
I don't remember the name of that particular program, but I can tell you that all the major manufacturers for the sprinkler systems are now coming out with smart programs. So you don't have to you don't have to worry about one name because everyone will now have the capability of you being able to
Well,
use those.
as being a landscape architect and landscape contractor, I see people wasting water. Totally. Hundreds of dollars. It's got to be hundreds of dollars being wasted at a time. Just because my controller says 5 minutes today, it runs irregardless of rain, anything. I mean, it still keeps on pumping away. We need to be aware of that, and that's the ideas that we're coming here today with, the smart idea stuff.
Right.
And
And you know better than I do, because you've taught me in past sessions we've been in, that it may be better for you to run a station for an hour every 5 days than to run it for
Exactly.
20 minutes every night.
I didn't think you were listening to me.
I was. I
Okay,
was really
okay,
listening.
I understand now, Tom. Okay, we do listen with each other here, but we do share. And what he's saying is that you don't have to water 10 minutes, but maybe 20 minutes every other day and get the same end result because the water's going down deep, and that's what Tom's leading up to. And that's conserving through evaporation, and especially in the summertime, through the evaporation. That's the whole guideline.
And I think this is another time that we can reinforce a lot of the damage that occurred during windstorm came from trees that were probably not
Yep.
properly watered.
Yep.
And so if you own those trees and they need to have a deep watering once a week or something, and just a little sprinkler hitting the side of the trunk isn't going to do anything to make those roots go deep.
That's exactly. Well, you see, now what you're finding out, folks, you're finding out something that Tom and I do listen to each other, and he's saying the same thing I would preach. You need to understand your property, your investment, your home, whatever you want to classify it as. We have a lot of issues inside the home, but outside the home, too. We need to complement each other. Because shade trees on the side of a home, I mean, I'm even going to share the other comment we haven't even talked about because it wasn't brought up. Now it is. But even like the rain gutters, keeping them clean, because during the summer we have torrential rainstorms that come in, right, Tom?
That's right.
Keep them clean. Keep them open so that they flow. That's my point.
Well, and there's two reasons why we landscape correctly, because you've taught me this. One is to maintain the soil that we have.
Yes.
And the other is to give the proper amount of moisture for whatever crop it is that we're growing, whether it's grass or flowers or whatever.
That's right.
And then the third thing you've always taught me is if you don't want to grow something, don't.
That's
It
right.
doesn't take any water to not grow something.
That is correct. Yeah, and he was sharing some stories while taking a break because of his wife has been pointing out a few things that Tom's got to work on. You got to get with these programs here. But Tom is very, very true. Things do grow and they can get out of hand and they can create some very serious problems. And then the tree said, "Why did that grow so big?" "Oh, I don't know. I watered." "Oh, okay." But you have to understand what you're doing inside the home and outside the home, of how it's going to respond, because your environment takes place and will change. I mean, I'm finding cases outside right now. People have been, with all the moisture we've been having this spring, we have night crawlers because they can't go down deep because it's too wet. And so people are seeing night crawlers in their lawn. I mean, folks, understand, take a moment to review your home. Tom said, get a camera, or if not, just even a piece of tissue paper and go along the windows and see if you feel a draft, right, Tom?
That's right. We use tinfoil. I love.
Oh, tinfoil, okay.
I love the little. What do you use for Christmas? The little. What do they call that stuff?
Tinsel?
Tinsel. Yeah.
Tinsel. Oh, that's
So-
an old name now. A lot of people don't understand tinsel.
Sorry. Well, tinsel is just a teeny weeny strip of tinfoil.
Right, right.
And I love tinsel because it doesn't take very much of a breath of air to show
Right.
you that you've got a leak. The other thing that we would tell you to do, especially during the heat, both heating and cooling season, is in the middle of, when it's dark, and right now that means 10 and 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
Um,
You and I are asleep. Don't worry about it.
that's right. We're asleep, but I fixed mine already in the winter. You put somebody outside of your house
Right.
with a flashlight, and you stay inside the house and have them run the flashlight around the door. And if
Great
you can
idea.
see any light coming in when they're running that around the door, then you know you've got a problem and there's going to be air coming in.
You know what? And the kids would have a ball with that, and they can help you out, or the grandkids, in my case, they would have a ball with that. And so many of these inexpensive, you got a flashlight or even tinsel, those are a long time ago. Can you even still buy that?
Yeah, you can. I
Oh,
think
okay.
it's plastic now, though.
Oh, it's plastic. It'll still fluff around, right?
Yeah.
But any of that type of stuff, the kids will have fun playing with that, and you can begin to see where your energy and your dollars, because the last two programs we've been having with Avista is how to save some dollars through smart stuff, as you were talking about, or just general stuff that we can put around doors or check around, or as I'm saying, planting trees. And I think that is the most important part of this whole program, is to understand what our environment is at. Right, Tom?
And we're all connected. I mean, I'm lucky I live out in the country, and I have a well.
Yes.
So I not only pay for my water from the standpoint of the electricity, or I do pay for my water from the standpoint of electricity. And when I got a new lawnmower...
It's not free, right?
Right. When I got a new lawnmower, because my old one was 15 years old and I'd beat it up, I got a mulching mower, and I've gotten to use half as much water as I used to when I bagged all my grass clippings. And so I mow it more often because it's faster.
Yes.
But those little teeny short pieces go down, and 85% of them acts as if it was fertilizer for the next crop of grass that's going to come up.
Along that same line, though, Tom, let's talk about aeration. I'll mention that. If you aerate your lawn this time of the year, you're going to put holes in it. It has not had a chance to, be open like that since the winter and the snow and all that. And all the moisture goes down into the ground. So great ideas, Tom. I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. We have about 1 other minute left. Do you want to go back to the website here before we finish up the program? Any other tips?
Well, you can always go to avistautilities.com, look up energy savings. I would say make this fun. Become a champion of using less energy. We said it on an earlier program, but I actually make a living helping people use less energy. Mm-hmm. And the reason it works is that we are offsetting purchasing new generation. And so when you go out and save energy, even at your own place, you're helping hold the cost down of future energy that we're going to buy. So that's a really good thing for not only you, but all your neighbors too.
Well, I'm listening to Tom. Tom listens to me, and I hope you're listening to us, because between the two of us, we've covered the inside the home, outside the home, and energy efficient, how to save dollars. Tom, thank you, and thank Avista for coming and spending the time with us, because we all need to become more educated on this. And again, through House to Home, Tom, thank you again, and Avista. We'll see you next time.
Generating electricity is a complex process, but when you think about it, what we do is pretty simple. We turn water into ideas, natural gas into a helping hand, wind into lifelong memories. We provide energy for life.
Snoring can disrupt marriages and cause serious health problems. Call Sleep Better Northwest first, the experts in dental sleep medicine. Their medically approved, custom-fit oral appliances will have both you and your partner sleeping better and being more productive throughout your day. Don't wait. Snoring and sleep apnea can signal potential strokes or heart attacks. For more information, visit needbettersleepnow.com and download our health guide today. Sleep Better Northwest, the experts in dental sleep medicine.